28. The Scottish Declaration of Arbroath. The Scottish Declaration of Arbroath is the most famous document in Scottish history. It declares the Scots to be the descendants of the children of Israel. In other words, Israelites. Written in 1320 AD, the diplomatic letter was addressed to Pope John XXII and begged his help and protection against the English kings, who were bent on conquering Scotland, and one portion reads, "Most Holy Father, the Lord," i.e. the Pope. We know, and from the chronicles and books of the ancients we find that among other famous nations, our own, the Scots, have been graced with widespread renown. They journeyed from Great Scythia by the way of the Tyrrhenian Sea and the Pillars of Hercules, and dwelt for a long course of time in Spain among the most savage tribes, but nowhere could they be subdued by any race, however barbarous. Thence we came 1200 years after the people of Israel crossed the Red Sea to their home in the west, where they still live today. The Britons they first drove out, the Picts they utterly destroyed, and even though very often assailed by the Norwegians, the Danes and the English, they took possession of that home with many victories and untold efforts, and as the historians of old time bear witness, they have held it free of all bondage ever since. So not only did the Scots identify themselves with the Scythians, but they reckoned their timeline according to the Exodus. Only Israelites would use that timeline. Great Scythia was above the Caucasus Mountains to the west, so it was certainly possible to sail from there through the Mediterranean around Spain and then to Scotland. The timeline is slightly off probably, but Scots in the 14th century lacked access to the vast information we have today. The declaration was written in 1320 AD, so dating their arrival into Scotland between the 1st century BC and the 1st century AD is fair enough. When the Roman historian Tacitus wrote about the Picts, the early Scots in the 1st century AD, he noted that the tall red-haired Caledonians, the Scots, of his time betrayed their Scythian origins. In other words, the Scots and the Scythians had a strikingly similar appearance and culture. Our adversaries come up with various harebrained lies to try and hide our truer history. For example, they claim that we Europeans lived in Europe from ancient times as backward cavemen. These kind of deceptions divert our attention from the large migrations of our people out of the Middle East. They want to deceive us into believing that we are not the true Israelites, but we are all Europeans, including the Scots, originated from the ancient Israelites.